The movie opens with Philip dreaming of his late father, George, an old man chained to a bed muttering, "Before you die, you'll suffer hunger, disease, and torment." Suddenly, he grabs someone's arm, but it's just a dream. Philip, the youngest of three brothers, shares a complicated past with Jake and Graham. He wakes up and calls Jake to the barn, where they find a deformed calf. Jake puts it down without hesitation. Meanwhile, Graham, at his garage with Cole, reveals he never returned home after their father's death. A birthday cake in the fridge confirms it's Philip's 28th birthday. Jake arrives at Graham's garage, drinking immediately. Annoyed, Graham sends Cole home and tells Jake to leave. Things get eerie. Jake gives blood to Graham, reminding him of their oath. He plays a video of Philip possessed, attacking him. Realizing their father had the same affliction, Graham reluctantly agrees to go home. Upon arrival, he feels uneasy and has a vision of their father, triggering painful memories. Since Philip is asleep, Jake tells Graham to crash on the couch. But Graham can't resist. He sneaks to their father's old room, sealed from the outside, and peeks through the lock. He tries to dismiss his fears, but deep down, he knows something is very wrong. That night, Graham wakes to strange noises and sees their father in the kitchen, eating a live chicken. Suddenly, plunges, only for Graham to wake up. Just a nightmare. Still shaken, he steps outside and finds Jake sealing the chicken coop. The terrified chickens were clearly spooked. As they talk, it's clear Jake has been drinking heavily since their father's death. Graham suggests taking Philip to a doctor, but Jake refuses and reveals something disturbing. All newborn animals have been deformed since their father died. The calf from earlier, just one example. Jake calls it a disease, but it's clear something unnatural is happening. Graham grows suspicious as memories of their father's erratic behavior resurface. Was he truly sick, or was something sinister at play? Then, Philip walks in, revealing a strange mark under his arm. He dismisses it as an allergy, but Jake and Graham know better. Their father had the same marks. Philip often lashes out at Graham, yet despite everything, Graham forgives him. He's still his little brother. Later, Philip feeds the chickens while Graham watches. Philip moves in a trance, whispering the same eerie words their father once said. Something sinister lurks beneath the surface, growing stronger. Graham asks about that night, but Philip claims he doesn't remember and walks away. That night, Graham has flashbacks, this time realizing their father truly loved them despite his madness. Restless, he goes to bed but wakes to a noise. Checking Philip's room, he finds it empty. Then, he hears something breathing under the bed. Heart pounding, he slowly crouches down, reaching for the edge, dreading what he might find. Graham finds a chicken hiding under the bed. He takes it outside, only to see dead chickens scattered everywhere. Panicked, he rushes inside and freezes. Philip is crouched, eating them alive. When Graham calls out, Philip turns, eyes glowing red, and lunges, sinking his teeth into Graham's chest. Graham screams, waking Jake, who rushes in. Together, they wrestle Philip down. Then, they see something writhing inside Philip's throat. Without thinking, Jake shoves his hand into Philip's mouth and yanks it out. Blood pours, chicken blood. Whatever it was had been feeding on Philip from the inside. The parasite, small but terrifying, scurries away unnaturally fast. Graham chases it, but stops when Philip struggles to breathe. Suddenly, the bathroom door slams shut on its own. It hits them. This isn't just a parasite. It's something demonic. Their father had warned them. He will rot and he will suffer greatly. A chilling thought creeps in. This might not just be a demon. It could be the devil himself. Philip convulses violently, his breath shallow, skin pale. Jake shakes him, calling his name, but Philip barely responds. The parasite wasn't just inside him, it was controlling him. After everything, Graham and Jake take a moment to clean up. Determined to end this nightmare, they grab makeshift weapons and search for the parasite. They check everywhere, but nothing. That's because it was never on the ground. It was clinging to the ceiling above them. Realizing this, Graham hands Jake a stick. After several tries, Jake knocks it loose. The moment it drops, Graham traps it in a bag and seals it shut, but they manage to transfer it into a locked container. For now, the nightmare is trapped. We get a flashback, young Philip bringing food to their father, about to leave as always. But this time, he hesitated. His father's words got to him, and instead of walking away, he sat beside him, something strictly forbidden. The brothers had been warned, never get too close. And the most shocking part, their father made that rule himself. Now the truth is clear. He wasn't just sick, he was possessed. The way we saw him, tied to the bed, suffering, it was all because of this thing. And the moment Philip sat near him, his father lost control. If the parasite did that to their father, what does that mean for Philip? If the parasite left Philip's body, then something worse may have taken its place. Philip's nightmare wasn't just a dream, it was a memory. He had escaped once, just like Graham later tried to. Back in the present, Philip is still chained, but the parasite is gone. Graham reassures him and unchains him. Outside, Jake cleans up the dead chickens. Things seem under control, but something's off. The parasite, still trapped in the container, commands Philip to open it. Without hesitation, he obeys. The moment he unlocks it, the parasite lunges back into his body. At the same time, Graham hears noises from their father's old room, the one sealed shut for years. Ignoring the warnings, he removes the planks and steps inside. That was his mistake. Inside, their father's belongings remain untouched. The bed where he was tied down is still stained with blood, a haunting reminder of his suffering. Just then, Jake walks in and tells Graham to leave. Their father had warned them. That room was sealed for a reason. Now, everything makes sense. This parasite, this possession, it's pure evil. Jake has no idea Graham freed Philip. While Graham investigates, Jake drinks and watches TV. In the bathroom, Graham checks where Philip bit him and sees it. Beneath his skin, an eye is forming. This isn't just possession, it's an infection. Anyone bitten or scratched gets infected, but possession isn't instant. The demon must lose its current host before fully taking another. Philip's nightmare was real. He brought food to his father. His father attacked him, scratching him just enough to connect him to the parasite. That was the moment it all started. The marks near Philip's underarms, his father's scratches. Maybe their father got infected the same way. When he died, Philip's possession was complete. If Graham had killed the parasite instead of trapping it, this could have ended. But now that it's back inside Philip, they must get it out again, and this time actually kill it before it spreads any further. Meanwhile, Jake watches TV when something moves behind him. He turns. Philip stands in their father's room, eerily silent. Flashback. Graham once tried to kill their father but failed. Their father returned, fully possessed, attacking Graham while Jake stood frozen in fear. Philip stepped in, smashing their father's head with a rod. That's how he died. Now, remembering Philip killed their father, Jake, drunk and furious, starts beating him. He isn't thinking, just lashing out. Graham grabs Jake by the throat, choking him unconscious. He turns to Philip. We're leaving, just the two of us. This house is cursed. After that, both of them get in the car and start driving away. But along the way, we notice that Philip is bleeding. Graham immediately steers the car toward a garage. Inside the garage, we see Cole smoking. When Graham and Philip arrive, Cole sees Philip's condition and tells them to call an ambulance. But Graham refuses. He knows this could make things worse. If the demon parasite spreads, it could cause unimaginable destruction. Philip starts vomiting blood. Graham tells Cole to take care of him and heads to his office. And then he does something shocking. He grabs a pair of scissors and tries to cut the parasite out of his chest. Meanwhile, outside, Cole calls for help, but then she realizes Philip is no longer behind her. She starts searching frantically. Suddenly, Philip appears. Panicked, Cole steps back. Just then, the lights go out. Scared, Cole rushes into Graham's office, asking what's going on. But before they can react, objects start crashing down around them. They hide under the table to protect themselves. Once everything settles, they crawl out and look for Philip, but instead of finding him, they come face to face with Jake, who's holding a gun. Jake points the gun at Graham and demands to know where Philip is, but Graham is just as clueless. They send Cole to Graham's office while they search for Philip. Eventually, they find him hanging upside down. It takes a lot of effort, but they manage to pull him down and tie him up with chains. Meanwhile, Cole has already called the police. Since this parasite is demonic, Graham and Jake realize they'll need something special to remove it, something like a crucifixion ritual. Just as they're about to start, someone knocks on the garage door. Outside, they see two police officers who arrived after receiving a distress call. Acting fast, Graham and Jake pick up Philip and carry him to the bathroom. Graham then takes Jake to Cole and tells him to stay calm. Meanwhile, he steps outside to deal with the officers. The officers are Peters, a female officer, and Terry, a male officer. But inside, something terrifying is happening. happening, Philip's body starts changing. The demon parasite inside him is beginning to emerge, slowly transforming into a full-grown demon. Graham has no choice but to let the officers inside to check the place. As they search, Terry heads to the bathroom while Peters checks the office. When Terry opens the bathroom door, he finds Philip barely conscious, his body covered in wounds. Peters continues searching the office, but suddenly Terry lets out a blood-curdling scream. The bathroom door slams shut from the inside. Peters rushes to help, but she's too late. The demon smashes Terry's face against the wall, brutally injuring him. Seeing an opportunity, Jake knocks Peters out by hitting her in the head with his gun, but in the struggle, he accidentally shoots himself in the leg. Graham quickly helps him while Cole wraps his leg to stop the bleeding. Graham then rushes to get Philip and brings him outside. Meanwhile, Cole walks over to a vending machine to grab a drink. That's when Philip weakly tells Graham, the demon parasite, it's here, and then it appears. The demon was hiding behind the drums near the vending machine. It emerges and starts moving toward them. On its forehead, there's a scar, the same mark left by Philip's rod when he struck his father. At this moment, we get a flashback. Their father once made a blood oath with his sons, Philip, Graham, and Jake. He told them that if he ever lost control or turned into a demon, they had to kill him. No matter what, they had to stick together. Back in the present, Graham grabs Jake's gun and shoots the demon. But something unexpected happens. Graham becomes the next infected. It turns out this demonic infection runs in their bloodline. When one dies, the next brother is affected. And just like before, the infection begins in the chest. As soon as Graham becomes the next infected, he grabs Jake's gun and runs straight to his office. Just as he's about to pull the trigger, Jake and the others rush in and stop him. Jake immediately tries to remove the parasite from Graham's chest using a knife. It's a brutal and painful process, but after a lot of struggle, the parasite finally comes out. Without wasting a second, Jake shoots it, killing it for good. But the danger isn't over yet. More police officers are on their way, knowing they won't be able to explain any of this, because seriously, who would believe a demon parasite was responsible? They have no choice but to run. They all pile into a car and speed away before the police can catch them. And just like that, demon disorder comes to an end. So that was the story of the demon disorder. I hope you guys enjoyed this explanation. If you still have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video.